Good morning. Thank you so much for starting your day with News 19 this morning. I'm Whitney Sullivan with meteorologist Brianna Mowry and my friends. I pulled out my big winter jacket this morning. I did. I know, Bree.
It's not that cold.
Girl, I'm such a wuss when it comes to the cold.
It's chilly, but it's not winter coat cold.
40s is like, where's my scarf and hat? Where are my gloves?
40s, today was a little chilly, but, not quite as cold for the winter coat and all the winter gear.
I got a blanket on my legs right now. You know how cold I am. Well, thankfully, we are going to be dealing with some warmer temperatures, what I like to hear coming up in the weekend. But we got to get through today first.
Right. Today is going to be pretty comfortable. It's going to be around 70 degrees for a high, but it's a cold start to Whitney, a cooler start to me, but definitely around a little bit cooler than normal, 43 for that current temperature. We are going to continue to stay dry today, mostly sunny today. Not a whole lot of cloud cover expected for your Thursday. Here's your next several hours. Temperatures are going to be in the upper 40s by 10 o'clock. And once we get into the afternoon, we will be in the lower 60s, eventually reaching that high temperature in the lower 70s this afternoon. So here's your forecast for the next couple of days. 70 for your high today. Some areas could get closer to 71 or 72. And then looking ahead to Friday, it's going to be another cooler start to the day in the low 40s, sunny, but warmer in the afternoon. We're going to warm up to 78 degrees for your Friday. Plenty of sunshine. As we head into the weekend, we're going to continue to see the sun and dry weather. Really no chance of rainfall in sight. So definitely going to be very dry, very warm, but we are going to see plenty of sunshine for those that want to spend time outside. Looking like the perfect forecast. Traffic this morning in the Midlands so far. We've not seen any major incidents. We do have a little bit of some slower spots showing up around downtown, but otherwise plenty of green out there on the traffic map this morning.
All right. Thank you so much, Bree. Well, yesterday, all of South Carolina was under a red flag fire alert, but today some of those restrictions are being lifted. About half the state now out of the alert, but fire danger is still a concern this morning. News 19's Ariana Clay in studio with what's changed and some tips on preventing wildfires. Ariana?
Good morning. Yes. So while these dry conditions are improving in some areas like Orangeburg, Kershaw, and Sumter counties, others are still very close to home, including Richland, Fairfield, and Lexington County, which are still under that alert. Now, the South Carolina Forestry Commission says a combination of low humidity and wind continues to create these risky fire conditions, even though some alerts have been lifted. You'll see a map on your screen showing which counties are no longer under that red flag warning, but officials say it only takes one spark. In fact, we saw this just yesterday where crews responded to a quarter-acre woods fire near Camden. Now, to help reduce the risk, people are being asked to avoid burning outdoors, especially on windy days or in open areas. Now, if you're grilling, make sure it's not near dry grass or wooded areas. And simple habits matter too, like not tossing cigarettes on the ground or even parking on dry grass where heat from your car can actually start a fire underneath. Now, when it comes to yard work, fire officials say burning debris is actually the #1 cause of wildfires right here in South Carolina. And to put this all in perspective, the Forestry Commission says it has only issued 73 red flag fire alerts in its 90-year history. Now, the alert is expected to remain in place for all other counties until further notice. And for a full list of which counties have been lifted and which haven't, head to our website, WLTX.com. Live in studio, Ariana Clay for News 19 WLTX.
All right, thank you so much, Ariana. And if you are found to start a wildfire, you are liable financially as well. Well, as tensions continue overseas in the ongoing conflict involving Iran, some Midlands demonstrators making their voices heard. A group gathering outside the State House last night calling for an end to U.S. involvement in the war. News 19's Jamin Wade sharing local reaction from protesters and lawmakers.
Well, look, what the president has said is that we don't want Iran to have the capacity to build a nuclear weapon. The president's also said that we don't want Iran enriching towards a nuclear weapon, and we want Iran to give up the nuclear fuel. Those are going to be our demands during the negotiation. And again, we're going to see what the Iranians are willing to give up.
As uncertainties intensify in the Middle East, CBS News is reporting Israel has launched major strikes targeting Iranian-backed forces, with hundreds killed. As world leaders navigate what comes next, South Carolina Senator Lindsey Graham sharing this message on social media Wednesday night, writing, President Donald Trump is right to have a red line when it comes to Iran enriching uranium. Iran has a proven history of cheating, and I'm proud our president is standing firm for our safety. Meanwhile, outside of our state house, protesters gathered calling for peace and a shift in priorities.
We're out here to say money for people's needs, not the war machine. We want the $200 billion that HECSF wants to fund war. We want that money to go to jobs and healthcare, to schools and education, to housing, the needs that we have as working class people.
News 19 speaking with Benedict College professor Dr. Leon Jeter, who says war is not good for either side.
War is basically never a good thing because you have victims on both sides, destructions on both sides, and it's the kind of thing that has, will take generations to recover from. And I think that when you look at what's happening currently really around the world, this is a global phenomenon, from gas prices to victimization to destructions.
As the situation overseas continues to develop, demonstrators here say they plan to keep showing up. Reporting in Columbia, Jamie Wade, News 19 WLTX.
All right, we have a news update for you. Just up the road in Charlotte, the man accused of fatally stabbing a 23-year-old woman on the light rail last year has been found mentally incompetent to stand trial. Defense attorneys for DeCarlos Brown are now asking a Mecklenburg County court to delay a key hearing by 6 months while he remains in federal custody. You may remember Brown was charged with the August murder of 23-year-old Ukrainian refugee Irina Zarutska, who was riding the transit on her way home from work. And turning our attention back here at home, we are continuing to follow the investigation in Richland County regarding a child abuse case involving a pastor and his wife. And for the first time, we are hearing from Sheriff Leon Lott on camera about this. Now, the investigation stems from an incident report where a teen told deputies she was sexually and physically abused while living in a foster home. 50-year-old Rodney Gibson is charged with criminal sexual conduct with a minor. He is the pastor. Meanwhile, his wife, Kawana Young, is charged with unlawful conduct towards a minor. She was the foster parent. Now, the report states the alleged abuse began back in 2023 when the victim was 15 years old and continued until it was reported in March of this year. The sheriff says the case started with a school resource officer who reported their concerns.
Initially started off with a SRO finding out information and making a report, which I think is very important that what our SROs do in schools. They see these kids, the kids confide in them.
Well, the sheriff says at least 2 victims have been identified, but there could be more, since both suspects had access to children through church and the daycare run by the woman. The Department of Social Services says Young was a licensed foster parent from 2021 through 2025 and cared for 6 children with no prior reports of abuse or neglect. The agency says case managers visit foster homes at least monthly, but they were not aware that Gibson was living in the home, and they say he was not listed on the license even though the 2 are married. DSS also says the daycare owned by Young is closed this week for spring break, and a safety plan will be reviewed before they can reopen. Sheriff Lott is once again stressing anyone with information or who may know a potential victim, they're asking that everyone comes forward. Well, over at the State House, lawmakers say there is a growing problem putting drivers at risk. We're talking about street takeovers. So if you haven't heard of them before, they're these large events where big groups of people shut down roads to do dangerous stunts, and officials say they're happening more often across our state. Well, now a bill at the South Carolina House aims to crack down, making it a crime to take part in these takeovers. Josie Frost is bringing us the latest from the State House on this story.
If you go on your phones and go on Instagram or Facebook and just type street takeover, you're going to see thousands of videos of young people who basically take over a roadway, kind of like Fast and the Furious.
In a street takeover, people line up their cars and do stunts. They'll block an area for hours and bottleneck traffic. In areas like Charlotte, takeovers are becoming more common, and they've led to some fights and shootings. Law enforcement warns they could spread more across the state.
It's not just been in York. We've had incidents in Greenville. It's creeping down into Lancaster and Chester, and it's also coming out from Georgia, too.
Under the bill, a street takeover is defined as a coordinated obstruction of a road, parking lot, or private area without the owner's permission. Those who are directly involved, like drivers and passengers, could get up to a year in jail and a $500 fine. There are extra penalties if you flee from police, put anyone else in danger, or injure others. And a major kicker in this bill, police could take vehicles used in these events.
A lot of rural counties can't afford some Mustangs. They can seize the Mustang and use it. They can seize it and sell it and use that money towards other projects within their sheriff's office or department.
But some lawmakers say we need to make it more clear that people who did not intentionally go to the takeover aren't getting charged.
I just want to make sure that those individuals who are not really participating but just happen to be there by way of being a passenger are not swept into being charged, criminally charged.
All right, my friends, we got a recall alert for you to keep an eye on this morning. General Motors recalling more than 270,000 Chevy Malibus over a rear-view camera issue. A national traffic safety alert says the camera may go blank or show distorted images, increasing the risk of a crash. GM's camera provider also found an issue with the rear-view camera mount that could expose them to moisture. The recall affects model years 2023 through 2025. Well, my friends, you don't want to miss this. Coming up on News 19 this morning on WLTX Plus, we're going to lean with it, rock with it. Our Xavier Harris is sitting down with them franchise boys as they prepare to make a tour stop right here in Columbia.